Hello and welcome back to Student of the Gun Radio. We hope that everybody enjoyed their holiday weekend. We had the Marine Corps birthday on Sunday, and then we had Veterans Day on Monday, and we are back now with you. And we truly appreciate you joining us here on Student of the Gun Radio. I am your host, Paul Markle. Now, across the board from me is Jared. Jared's got a little bit of a strep throat going on, so he's made the decision that he's not really going to talk to you guys today. But just know that he is there with us. We always we want to thank all of our good friends, and especially we want to thank our buddies up there in Tennessee, our buddies Zeke and Left Hand of Talking Lead. We had a really good time doing a co-collaboration type show with those guys last time around. We've had some fantastic feedback from you guys out there in the audience, and we really appreciate it. We appreciate you guys listening to us. And hey, if you are a new listener, if you're a Talking Lead guy who's recently discovered Student of the Gun, thank you, and we're glad that you're here. Now, keep in mind, this is a little bit of a unique show, and it takes more than one listening to pick up on Paul's sarcasm, to get my sarcasm. So you might want to give us a couple of shows before you start picking up on it. Don't forget about our good friends up there in Republic, Missouri, Crossbreed Holsters. They are our buddies. They make a fantastic product, and they make probably the most comfortable in-the-waistband holster that you're ever going to wear. So check them out at crossbreedholsters.com. Don't forget our buddies down there in Cocoa, Florida, where it's warm now and it's cold in the rest of the world, but I'm sure it's probably pretty warm still in Cocoa, Florida. And those guys are cranking out all those really cool, unique Keltec weapons, keltecweapons.com. So check those guys out as well. Now, it is November. We've already chosen our November Tactical Response giveaway winner. If you guys have been following us for the last, 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever, you'll know that we are giving away a 2-day complimentary training course, 2-day complimentary tuition to any Tactical Response 2-day class. And they have fighting pistol, fighting rifle, all kinds of stuff. You just go to tacticalresponse.com and check them out. And we had Leanna, who was our October winner. And then we had Jerry, who was our November winner. Now in December, first week of December, we're going to pick one more winner for a free 2-day tuition to Tactical Response. And the way do you do that? How do you do that? Well, we've explained it before, but you know what? Because I like you, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to explain it again to you. All you have to do is go to studentofthegun.com, and over there on the right-hand side, you'll see a little sign-up form. It says, please enter your name, first name, and your email address. And once you do that, you click on it, and it'll send you an email, and you have to go in there and confirm it. But once you've done that, you become an active Student of the Gun subscriber. And we give away all of our good stuff, and we give away a lot of good stuff. We've given away, we're giving away training classes, holsters, guns, flashlights, knives, all kinds of stuff. And all you have to do to be eligible is to be an active subscriber to our weekly newsletter. Now, we don't spam you, but what we will do is we'll send you a newsletter every week letting you know what is new on the TV show, the radio show, the latest articles, and if we've got any new stuff, if we got any specials. Last week, Jared did a little special for you guys. He gave you a coupon code or a radio code. So you go to Student of the Gun store, studentofthegungear.com. And a lot of you folks out there took advantage of the 10% off the Pocket Lifesaver 2.0 or the PLS 2.0 kit. And we're glad that you did. I think it's fantastic that you guys are paying attention and that you're taking advantage of these deals. And periodically what we will do is we'll send out an email saying, hey, this is on sale or that's on sale or we've got a new product or we've got a new article up or what have you. So you want to be in the know, especially a lot of you folks out there that don't like social media. We know you're out there. You're like, I don't do Facebook and I don't do that Twitter thing and I don't do any of that stuff. And okay, cool. You're an American. You don't have to do it. But if you want to know what's going on with Student of the Gun, you got to have some way of keeping up with us, right? And besides listening to the radio show each and every week, what you can do is you can become a Student of the Gun official, newsletter member. And like I said, we send it to you each week. It's free. It costs you absolutely nothing. We are the largest free training university for firearms, I don't know, in America, in the world, wherever you want to call it. But So check that out. Now, we've got a lot of stuff going on. Whew, man, since we did that show with the guys at Talking Lead, there's just been a tremendous amount of gun, firearms related, liberty related items that have gone on in the United States. And we're kind of loaded for bear this week. So let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. Now, you guys know that XS Sight Systems, XS Sights, they've been a longtime supporter of Student of the Gun. They're been a supporter of our television show. And if you don't know, yes, we do have a television show. It amazes me, as long as we've been doing this, that we still get, messages on Facebook, or we get emails, or like, you guys have a TV show? I didn't know that. Yeah, we have a TV show. It's channel 266 on Dish Network. And right now the show airs every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So just set your DVRs to Dish Network, channel 266, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can record the show. If you're on the East Coast, we're also on Alive TV Outdoors. That's an HD cable, Shentel HD cable. You can watch us there on Wednesday nights and Saturday nights. So check that out. And like I said, I believe with the Shentel, that Alive TV Outdoors is part of the basic package. There's like 500,000 of you out there that have the basic cable package from Shentel. You can watch it for free. It doesn't cost you an extra nickel. But XS Sights, they sponsor the TV show. And we talked to them here a few months ago, and they said, well, we'd like to help you out with the radio show, Paul. What can we do? And what we do every single week is we pick out what we call our Student of the Week, and they send in a question and a topic, and we address that topic on the radio show. Well, what we're doing now is we have our XS Sights Good Guy of the Week, and if we pick your topic to discuss on the radio show, you will become the Good Guy of the Week. And what do you get? Well, you get an XS Good Guy package, a T-shirt, hat, patch, one of their new catalogs, a couple little other goodies thrown in there. And if we read your name, or we speak your name on Student of the Gun Radio that week, all you have to do to claim your prize, because we want to know that you're actually listening, is to send Jared an email. And it's JARRAD. That's Juliet Alpha Romeo Alpha David or Delta, depending on whether you're doing police phonetic or military phonetic. Send your little email to Jared at Student of the Gun. Say, hey, dude, I'm the Student of the Week. Here's my address. Here's my T-shirt size. Send me my good stuff. And all of our guys who've been the guys and girls that have been the Students of the Week, the Good Guys of the Week, they've got their packages, and we really appreciate you guys sending us little notes and messages telling us, hey, I got my stuff, and, taking pictures of it, and you're all excited, and that's fantastic. Now, the topic of the week this week, like I said, I'm on my own because Jared's throat's not feeling well, but it came to us via our email, via the info at Student of the Gun. And the gentleman in question, his name's Emmett. And he says, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read his email to you guys. He says, a few weeks ago when I turned 21, my wonderful wife gifted me with some money that we'd been saving, and we wanted to go out and get a concealed carry handgun. I went to the shop to get the paperwork and found out that the process to receive my pistol permit would take nearly a year. And due to my age, the likelihood of me being approved was close to nothing. Needless to say, I was very disappointed, especially since I was directed to a native, since it was directed to a native of Vermont. This gentleman was originally from Vermont, and he's currently living in New York State. It says, in nearly every show, you throw out the term slave state, and I didn't really think it applied to me until I started thinking of it. Well, in long story short, our buddy said that he's decided that he's going to take his young bride, and he's going to leave the People's Republic of New York. He's going to move back to Vermont, to free America. And we got that, and we applaud him, and we're glad for you. We're glad that you're making that move, because we don't think that you should have to require permission from the government to own a handgun, to own a firearm. If you have to get a special little card with your name and address on it as permission from your state or commonwealth to own a gun, you are not a free man. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings. I'm sorry if you're up there in Massachusetts or Illinois listening to us, or, well, what do you know? We're free. No, you're not. Stop fooling yourself. You may be comfortable. There's a difference between being comfortable and being free and being truly independent and having liberty. Comfort and liberty are not necessarily the same things. People will try and convince you that comfort and liberty are the same, but they are not. And we want to spend some time. We've gotten, in addition to Emmett, now, Emmett, you know who you are. And so when you listen to this, go ahead and send your email off to Jared at studentofthegun.com, and he'll hook you up with the good guy of the week package. But we wanted to address this because we've actually gotten a couple of Facebook messages, an additional messages through social media and so forth, telling us, other people have told us, hey, we're doing it. We're making the move. We're leaving the People's Republic of California and going to Texas or going to Arizona, or we're leaving New York and we're going to Vermont. Or we had one guy say that he was leaving New York and he was moving to North Carolina, and we applaud you for that. But we wanted to kind of do a special slave state edition and kind of talk about what is going on out there in the slave world, in the slave nation. And this actually came to us just a couple of days ago, this story, and our good friends, the good people at the Blaze TV or theblaze.com put this story up, and we've seen it in other places since then. But essentially, it says that a selectman from Massachusetts has put forth, let me find his name. Aha! Swampscott Selectman Barry Greenfield expressed his frustration over the Newtown School massacre in Connecticut, and what Swampscott, it's spelled Sot in one part of the story, and then it's spelled Scott in another. So I'm going to assume that it's actually Scott because that sounds a little bit better. That he's proposed a law that would allow police officers to randomly inspect the homes of Massachusetts residents to determine that the firearms within the homes are secured properly within the outlines or parameters of the law. And you say, well, mean they're going to go to the judge and they're going to get warrants and they're going to come to people's houses with warrants and request entry based upon probable cause of wrongdoing. No. See, that was old America. In old America, in the antiquated America of Washington and Jefferson, Franklin and Hancock, in antiquated America, what police officers used to have to do was go to a judge, present probable cause to that judge, be issued a warrant to do certain things or search for certain items or to go arrest certain people. Well, apparently in modern America, our enlightened politicians, our enlightened leaders, the ruling class, those who know better than you what is good for you, they've just decided that whole Fourth Amendment, probable cause, private property thing, that's an antiquated idea, and we just really don't need that anymore. Because for the children, because for safety. And, if you argue against that, then you obviously hate children. Why do you hate children? Why do you want children to die? You say, but I don't want children to die, Paul. Well, if you have a problem with police officers just randomly showing up at your house, demanding entry, and demanding to be shown where your guns and ammunition are, if you're against that, you obviously hate children. Why do you hate children? Why do you want children to die? Apparently, Mr. Greenfield up there in Swampscott, what's his name? Swampscott Barry Greenfield. Apparently, he thinks that the way to stop crazy people is to subject all citizens to random inspections. Have we seen this anywhere else in the world? At any other point in history, have we encountered a situation where the state decided for the good of the people, for the security of the people, that they were just going to send members of the special police, that the special police were going to come to your house at any time of the day or night, whenever they felt like it, whenever it fit into their schedule, demand entry into your home and inspect your home? Has that ever happened before in the history of the world and the history of mankind? Ask yourself that. Now, if you went to public school during the last 20 years, you might be thinking, well, gee, Paul, I've never heard of that before. But it sounds reasonable to me because, if you are against that, then you're obviously unreasonable. So, and what did we talk about before? Now you say, oh, well, hey. And I know you reasonable guys up there in the People's Republic of Massachusetts, I'm not sure if they allow us to be broadcast in Massachusetts, but if you can get us via underground radio in Massachusetts, you guys you're getting your back hairs up and you're like, oh, yeah, he proposed that, but it's never going to happen. That won't ever pass. Really? Really? That'll never pass? Tell me again why it won't pass. If in the year 1982, I would have gone to you and said, at some point in time, there is going to be a state in the Union that is going to ban the possession and use of lead-based ammunition. In 1988, you would have called me a fool, a conspiracy theorist. That'll never happen, you said. Oh, but it has happened. And Peace, Love, Dope, Jerry Brown has signed a law that will eventually make it illegal to use lead-based ammunition in the state of California, the People's Republic, the glorious People's Republic of California. And you're like, oh, come on now. If you'd have told your grandfather that someday the United States Congress would put forth a bill specifically telling you how your gun not only could be configured, but how it could look, what parts it was allowed to have on it, not whether or not it was a machine gun, but whether or not it could have one of those really super scary pistol grips and one of those really super deadly muzzle brakes or compensators. Ooh, we know compensators make guns more dangerous, right? And a bayonet lug. It is a good thing that we've passed the bayonet lug ban, because I don't know how many hundreds, if not thousands, of random drive-by bayonettings have been prevented because of the illegality of having a bayonet lug. And what did Feinstein say? She said there was some kind of a we love it when the liberals make up parts. They don't really even know what the gun's all about, so they just make up parts of a gun. When they was it the bayonet lug that they did a little graphic and they said it was designed to be to hold a grenade launcher or something like that. But when you guys tell me, well, that will never happen, they'll never pass that. They might not pass it this year. What about next year? What did we talk about when we talked about the passage of the UN Arms Trade Agreement? And you're like, oh, it doesn't matter if Kerry signed it or not. It'll never be approved. It'll never be approved. What happens when you do something like that? Why do politicians, come on, guys, stick with me here. Why do politicians put forth bills that they know are initially doomed to failure? Why do they do it? Do they do it because they're establishing the argument? They do it because they're putting forth that idea as something that is indeed legitimate and needs to be debated. Ponder on that for just a moment. So when you allow this elitist ruling class politician, Mr. Barry Greenfield, when you allow Barry Greenfield to put forth the notion that the state, as represented by the police officers, because remember this, it's not Barry Greenfield or Dianne Feinstein or Chuck Schumer. They're not going to be the ones beating on your door at 7 o'clock at night demanding entry. No, they have minions to do that for them. They're just going to put it out there and send out their minions to do their bidding. So when they put forth an idea that the state, that representatives from the state should be allowed to enter your home without a warrant and inspect your home and inspect your private property. Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember the notion of private property? Back in old antiquated America, we understood that when a man purchases a piece of property lawfully, that it becomes his and he cannot be deprived of said property without due course of law. That whole, going to a trial, having a judge and a jury and all that stuff. All that really, that stuff that gets in our way. When you're like Barry here, and is it a coincidence that Mr. Swampscott is named Barry? Is there something about the name Barry? I don't know. That might be something to ponder here in the very near future about people named Barry. And, if you were born with the name Barry, I'm sorry for you. And I don't know what we can do. Why don't you just call yourself Skip from now on, okay? But, if people like Barry can go ahead and throw this out there, if they can make the argument, even when the argument is shot down, is the argument over or is it going to come back? Think about it. In the early 90s, when the C word, when Mr. and Mrs. C word came into power because Americans are fat and stupid and don't pay attention. And when we decided to vote for a class president instead of a leader and the C word people came in, what did we have then? Well, we put forth the idea, the notion that the centralized United States government should indeed be allowed to control your health care. And back in the early 90s, we had enough people back then with cojones that we shot it down, that we put it away. Well, what happened? 2 decades later, where are you? How many of you within the sound of my voice have either lost your health care, don't have it anymore, had your insurance policy cancel you, or had your insurance company send you a revised policy statement that increased your rate $100, $200, $300 a month? How many? I bet you a lot. How many of you small business owners cannot hire any new people because it would cost you too much money? It would actually bankrupt you to hire people. I know there are a lot of you out there. And a lot of you in the 90s said, see, we knocked down that whole Hillary care, that universal health care. We knocked that down. It's gone. Well, the evil monster brought its head back up. And things seem to be going a little bit faster nowadays. They're picking up the pace. When you allow people like Barry Swampscott there to put forth the notion that law enforcement should be allowed to enter your home at will, just for the safety of the children, what do you have? Well, folks, why do you think Barry thinks this is a good idea? Could it be because in Boston it's already happened, that they've already flushed the Fourth Amendment, that they've decided that the Bill of Rights is just a pesky thing, and that's old America. That whole old America, we don't need old America anymore. We don't need to be, because that stops us from what we want to do. We've decided we're going to come in your house whether you like it or not, and we don't care about the Fourth Amendment. Now, I'm gonna leave you guys with this one. For all of you folks out there who are reasonable, and you know who you are, look at yourself in the mirror. For all of you folks that are reasonable, for all of you that don't believe that there could be people in positions of leadership that would actually mean to do you harm, and even if they do, there are advocates to take up for you. You say, well, there's the American Civil Liberties Union. And when I was a cop, we used to call them the American Criminal Liberties Union for good reason. The ACLU, where is the ACLU on Swampscott Barry's idea here? Cricket, cricket, cricket. Where is the ACLU on the martial law being declared in Boston after the bombing when there's a suspect at large? So we're just going to come into your house. Have you guys heard about the class action lawsuit that the ACLU has brought forth against the state of Massachusetts, the city of Boston? You haven't? Well, you know what? I haven't heard that either. We just had a similar instance out in California where there was a quote-unquote suspect at large. So they decided to do armed police checkpoints, stop people without cause, point guns at them, and demand to know who they were, where they were going, and we're going to search your vehicle for the suspect at large. Now you're like, but Paul, when you're on the highway, doesn't a police officer have to have probable cause to stop you? Well, in old America, back in old antiquated America, when Paul went to the police academy, we had to learn all about probable cause and reasonable cause and so forth, and or reasonable articulable suspicion. There's a good word for you, a good phrase. And we were taught that you were not allowed to just randomly stop people because you thought they were dirty, that you actually had to have probable cause, and it wasn't a hunch. We were taught that a hunch is not probable cause, that it's something that you must be able to articulate. That's right, we had to articulate that on paper. Well, it's new America, and we don't need that anymore. Apparently, being out in public now is probable cause for a stop. And it's very disturbing. But if you're up there in the glorious People's Republic of Massachusetts, raise your right hand in the air, extend your hand high, and give old Barry Swampscott the salute there. Now, let's move on. Let's move on. Now, we wanted to talk about slave state news, so let's go ahead and keep on slave state news. And we know, you guys know, all of you out there in the Student of the Gun audience, you know that we've got an East Coast, West Coast rivalry going on right now, don't you? Every time the East Coast passes a new gun law, the West Coast finds out about it, and they're like, no, you didn't. You didn't just pass more laws. We're going to pass more laws. Well, what have we got coming out of the glorious People's Republic of California? Well, it turns out that in San Francisco, that's right, the shining star of the People's Republic of California, we have a board of supervisors, a member of the board of supervisors, a supervisor named Malaya Cohen. And she has sponsored a law banning guns with large capacity magazines. You're like, well, duh, it's the People's Republic. You can't own a gun. You can't own a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds because, the world may end. And you, as the peasants who occupy the People's Republic, cannot be trusted with that. Well, according to Supervisor Malaya Cohen's legislation, it expands the existing San Francisco law, making it illegal to sell firearms with magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds. And you're like, but I don't understand. What she wants to do is, see, Jerry Brown, he didn't veto the ban on guns capable, only on the magazines themselves. Now, we know that Governor Moonbeam, Peace, Love, Dope, Jerry Brown, that he just recently signed a piece of legislation making lead ammunition illegal. It's not immediate. It's going to take effect over time. But he vetoed the bill that essentially said any gun that, let's say the Martian moon men came down and they landed in L.A. and they had a truckload of standard capacity AR-15 magazines, and they started passing them out to all the peasants who own specially designed California legal ARs with bullet buttons and, no bayonet lugs and, no scary things like compensators on them, because those are really dangerous. Well, we couldn't allow people to actually have the gun. Let's say they accidentally got a hold of a standard capacity magazine and they put it in their gun and turned it into a super death machine. And the gun got up out of the box and went on a rampage. We cannot allow that to happen. Well, up in the San Francisco, Supervisor Malaya Cohen has decided that she wants to expand the existing law and make it illegal to sell firearms with magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds. Now, you're like, well, dude, what is the point? They already have so many restrictions on firearms owners and ownership in California. Why in the world does this chick think that we need more gun laws? What is going on with that? Well, because what do we say? It's never, ever, 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 ever enough. When you are a left-wing totalitarian, that's easy for me to say. When you're a left-wing totalitarian wingnut, like the people the comfortable slaves out in California, like the folks that you elect out there, there's never enough gun control. If you think that by being reasonable, you say, well, Paul, come on, let's meet them halfway. Let's be reasonable. It's not like they're saying we can't own guns. They're just saying we can't own certain kinds of guns that in certain configurations, and we have to get permission, and we have to have little cards with our pictures on them that says it's okay for us to own them. But they're not saying we can't own them. Well, if we just are reasonable and we meet them halfway, they'll be satisfied, and then they won't come back for any more until they do. Dianne Feinstein. I don't know about you, but it just gives me the creeps to say that name. She's been a wacko, basically elitist. She's been an elitist politician for all her life. She lives in California, where there are plenty of fruits, nuts, and flakes to keep reelecting her. So she's in a safe district. That means she can continue to go out and propose more and more gun control. And you're like, yeah, but didn't she get enough before? No, they never get enough. And all you reasonable folks out there, all you folks who think that we can, if we're just reasonable enough, if we just sit down and talk to them, they'll realize that we're good people and that we're reasonable people, and they won't want any more. If you still believe that, you need to take a serious, healthy dose. I'm going to put you on heavy dosage of Student of the Gun Radio. If you're listening to me right now and you think that the elitist politicians that occupy the seats in San Francisco and Boston and Washington, D.C. and all those other places, Chicago, if you think that we can sit down with them and we can reasonably work out a solution and that they'll be satisfied and they won't want any more gun control, if you really think that, then I'm putting you on a heavy dosage of Student of the Gun Radio. And you need to go back to episode 1 and start listening at least 3 times a day, okay? And after you've done that, you come back to me and we'll talk. It's never enough, folks. It is never, ever, ever, ever enough. So all you elitist politicians, all of you folks out there that think you know better than everyone else, don't come to me asking for reasonable, because I'm all out. I've been reasonable my whole life. And so have you probably. I bet you the folks that are out there listening to me right now, you've spent your entire life listening to the let's be reasonable crowd. And what has that gotten us? Less and less and less freedom and more tyranny every single day. Sorry, don't ask me for reasonable. I'm out. Okay, hey, who wants some good news? Who wants a Go Team moment? You know you do. You know you want a Go Team moment, and I want to give it to you. Now, this is actually a story that was originally put out on This Week in Guns probably 3 months ago or more, maybe about 3+ months ago, where these animal rights wackos, and you're welcome, Rush, I'll send you a nickel, but these animal rights wackos decided that they're going to start harassing hunters by using these remote-controlled drones to videotape hunters when they're out in the field. And of course, the joke was, well, you're going to send remote-controlled drones out and you're going to fly them over people that have shotguns. That's probably not going to work out well. And we all joked about it at the time. Well, it's come true. The story from the TND.com says, animal rights group says drone was shot down. What? That's right. some animal rights wackos in South Carolina. You're like, how'd they get in South Carolina? All right, you people in South Carolina, you're probably annoyed right now. You're probably looking left and right, and you're like, what? Who let the animal rights wackos into our state? Don't they know this is the birthplace of the American Civil War? You don't send animal rights wackos down to South Carolina to harass dove hunters. Well, you'd think they'd be smarter than that, but apparently there aren't enough people hunting up in central Boston for them to harass, so they had to go down to South Carolina. And they decided that they were going to fly one of these silly drones with a camera on it over a group of dove hunters out in a field. And, well, oops, apparently it got shot. And I guess they filed a complaint, and they they want reparations for their shot down drone. Now, I don't know about where you guys live, but I know when I was working as a police officer in Ohio, that one of the pieces of legislation that they passed was a hunter protection law, or a bill that essentially said it was against the law to harass a person who was legally engaged in the act of hunting. That's right. And I'm sure that if you live in free America, if you live in Nebraska or Iowa or Mississippi or Texas or whatever, that there's probably very similar legislation on your books down there as well. You might want to look it up. But most reasonable states, and I know I just used the R word, and I'm sorry, but most states in free America do have hunter protection acts or hunter protection bills that do make it either a misdemeanor or a felony, depending on what the circumstances are, to harass a person who is legally engaged in hunting. Now, I don't know if this applies to your local game warden or not. You might want to check with your attorney about that. But yeah, all of you hippie animal rights wackos, I'm not sure how much it costs you to send up one of these little drones, but you might want to think twice. Just saying. So, hey, all you dove hunters down there in South Carolina, we're going to give you the Student of the Gun Go team. Now I'm going to look over at my dutiful studio engineer right now. Dutiful studio engineer who cannot speak because he has a sore throat. And how we doing? Jared says we're doing pretty well on time right now. Now, here's the good news. You guys want to know the good news? You know you want to know the good news. And you know you get the good news from me. So, hey, here I am giving it to you. Right now, we have episodes 7 through 13 of Student of the Gun TV. All the new material has been produced. It's up. And if you want to see it, all you have to do is go to Dish Network Channel 266, like we already said. But after it has aired on television, what does Jared do? Well, Jared, being the intrepid webmaster that he is, he puts the shows up on studentofthegun.com in HD. Now, don't forget, I know a lot of you guys out there. I know there's some young folks out there. There's some hipsters, some cool dudes who actually know how to use that YouTube app on your Xbox. If you have a YouTube viewing app, that is an application for you old guys. If you have a YouTube app on your Xbox, your PlayStation 3, 4, 12, 17, whatever, you can watch YouTube videos in high definition on your big screen TV. That's right. Even old antiquated Paul Markle in my dinosaur mode, I can sit down with my big screen TV and I can watch our show if I want to in HD just using the YouTube application or the app there. So, you're like, well, dude, I mean, I'd like to see your show not just on my laptop or on my phone. I'd like to watch it on my TV. All right, dudes. And Jared, you just give me a heads up or a nod or a shake. The Roku devices and all those things, do those also use the YouTube applications? Do you know? He says yes. He said he thinks that a lot of these new watch TV via the internet boxes that you can buy at Radio Shack or Best Buy or wherever it is. Don't buy it at Best Buy because they're bad people and they give money to bad people. But buy them from somebody else. I don't know who doesn't give money to bad people. Radio Shack, as far as I know. But yeah, these Roku boxes and all these cool little devices you can buy, hook your TV up and watch TV through the internet. Dudes, you want to watch Student of the Gun in high def on your flat screen? Do it. There you go. I put that little coin in your pocket. Take it with you. And the whole point of that long story, and you had time, right? Because you're probably on the treadmill. And if you are on the treadmill, I want you to give me 10 more minutes. I don't care if you're tired. Give me 10 more minutes. And if you're mowing your lawn, good on you. I know some of you guys put in a student of the gun and you do your mundane chores, and I help you get through it. And you know what? You're welcome. I'm there for you. Also, in addition, and I'm going to finish this up and move on to the next story, I promise you, we are going to be going back to next week I'm going to give Jared, are we going back to 2 hours next week? Jared says yes. He gave me the up, down, the north, south. He said, we will be going back to 2 hours of Student of the Gun Radio starting next week. So mark your calendars, set the date on your iPhone, whatever you have to do to remind yourself. And again, you are welcome. Now, folks, we talk about a lot of serious stuff, and there's a lot of serious stuff going on in the world today. There is no getting around that. But there are a lot of good things that are going on, and like the Go Team moments and so forth. And you guys know that we support youth shooting programs, and we very specifically support the 4-H shooting sports. If you've been watching the TV show here the last 3 weeks or so, you've seen our adults in training. We very specifically went down there and we filmed the stories of 3 different teenagers who went through shooting education camp and kind of gave you a short story on them. We believe, we know, we don't just believe it. We know that the 4-H shooting sports program is one of the best run and most professionally run youth shooting programs in America today. I'm sorry if you have a pet and that's not it, but the facts are the facts, and 4-H shooting sports are doing a fantastic job helping hundreds, if not thousands, of young people safely and effectively learn how to use shotguns and rifles, bows and arrows, pistols, black powder, you name it. But 4-H is a not-for-profit organization. 4-H relies upon donations and time from volunteers. They rely on you. And we've talked about this before, and a lot of you guys out there in the audience, and you know who you are. But leading up to shooting education camp this last summer, we asked you if you had it in your heart or the ability to donate some .22 ammunition to a 4-H shooting sports club. If you could do that, we would really appreciate it. And a lot of you guys did. And I wanted to, tell you from the bottom of my heart, we really appreciate that. And the kids do, because that's what it's all about. It's not about me. It's not about the adult volunteers. It's about letting these kids have a week worth of shooting sports. And they've got to have the stuff to do it. They have to have the ammunition. And right now, that really is the biggest cost in putting on a 4-H shooting sports program, whether it's a weekend camp or a week-long camp or whether it's a regular program that they do monthly. They consume, they buy bows once, they buy shotguns once, but they consume ammunition, and they just have to. That's the way it is. Well, we really didn't have a viable way for you guys out there in the Student of the Gun audience. We didn't have a really good way to let you help them. I mean, let's face it. If you're in Iowa or you're in Maine or you're listening to me in Texas or wherever, it's kind of tough for you to go meet with Larry Harris in Ohio and give him 500 rounds of .22, even if you got it. You're like, well, dude, I'd like to help you out, but, I'm in Washington State and you're in Ohio, so, they are in Ohio. I can't help you. Well, you guys know who Midway USA is. And Midway USA, in addition to having catalogs full of all kinds of shooting sports equipment and what have you, well, Larry and Brenda Potterfield at Midway USA, they started the Midway USA Foundation Incorporated. Now, that is separate from the retail store and from the catalog outlet. But what it is the foundation is set up to allow scholastic shooting education programs, not just the 4-H, all scholastic shooting education programs nationwide. It's set up to allow them, the individual program, to receive grants from the foundation. Are you with me? Are you tracking with me right now? So let's say you are a scholastic trap shooting club in Boise, Idaho, and you really could use some help. Well, what you can do is you can contact the Midway USA Foundation, and you can say, hey, this is our club. This is what we do. They'll have you fill out the appropriate paperwork. And once it's approved, then you get your very own team fund. Each team has their very own specific fund. Because a lot of you guys might be thinking, well, if I just give money to them in general, how do I know that the 4-H shooting sports is getting it? Or how do I know that my favorite Scholastic Shooting Sports Club is getting it? Well, each team, once they're approved, has their own specific page on their website. They have their own specific fund. And what we want you guys to do, we're going to do for you guys, is on the Student of the Gun Radio, and that's studentofthegunradio.com. We're going to put the link up there for you. And this is for the Ohio 4-H Shooting Sports Team Fund. And if you would like to donate, and dudes and dudettes, this isn't like for the Rockefellers. You're like, well, I can't give you $10,000. I'm just a working man or working woman or whatever. That's cool. You can donate $5, $10, $20. I mean, let's say if you could find it in your heart to donate $25, that's what, 500 rounds of .22 ammunition. I'm not sure what's going for. 22 ammo is like gas now. The price varies day by day. But if you could find it in your heart to donate $25 to them, that will go into the fund. Now, here is the big asterisk. Here is the really cool thing that Midway USA and Larry and Brenda, here's what they're doing. If you can find it in your heart to donate $50 to the Ohio 4-H Shooting Sports Camp, to the education program, you donate $50 and Midway, via Larry and Brenda, will match it 2-1. That's right. So essentially, when you donate $50, they're going to match it 2-1. They're going to put 100 into it. So what we're talking about is you can multiply your donation by 3 just by making it. So if you can make a $25 donation, you're essentially ensuring that that team gets $75. How cool is that? I got chills going up the back of my neck right now just talking about this. Because, folks, if you haven't watched some of them, if you're like, Paul, I'm not really sure about this, and I think it's a scam. Okay, whatever. Go to Student of the Gun right now. Go to studentofthegun.com, click on the little window there, watch it. And you can watch the stories. You can watch Rebecca and Jacob. And you can watch, who's the third one, Jared? I'm a jerk. Jessica. Yeah, Jessica. Rebecca, Jacob, Jessica. You can watch these kids. You can watch all the other kids. You can see them interacting. These are the kids. There are kids in America that are our future, that are the good part of our future, not the bad part of our future. And if you want to help these kids out, like I said, Jared's going to go ahead and put the link up. If you feel it in your heart to donate, all you have to do is go to it, and the folks at Midway USA will match your donation 2-1. How cool is that? And it's a 501c3. It is a 100% tax deductible donations. You will get a little letter from the foundation thanking you, giving you the specifics, and you want to write it off on your taxes, because who doesn't? You can do that as well. So keep a close eye out on Student of the Gun, all of our social media, all of our, when we do our newsletter this next week, Jared, we're going to go ahead and put that in there. When we do the next, the broadcast, Jared he said, yeah, when we do the next broadcast, we'll put that link in there for you guys. So check it out. Oh, hey, do we have time for one more Go Team moment, Jared? Yeah, Jared says we like to talk about good news, so let's talk about good news. We got time for one more Go Team moment. And the reason we know about this Go Team moment is because of one of you guys, one of you folks out there in Student of the Gun land. And it turns out that a couple of jerks who thought it would be cool to go around committing armed robbery in Reading, Pennsylvania, are no longer with us. Well, why is that, Paul? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Jerkface A and Jerkface B, and we don't need to make them famous, they decided that they were going to pull masks over their face, and they were going to go into the Cricks Corner Market on North Street there, and they were going to stick them up. They were going to rob them. Well, that's not very nice. It's not very neighborly. Why would you want to do that? Well, guess what? There's a lot of pieces of human debris walking around the world, and sometimes they do bad stuff. So they donned masks, walked in with guns, terrorized the employees, and robbed them. They walked outside of the store. It turned out there was a gentleman who had been there working. I think he was working on the boiler or working on the something, air conditioner, something for the store owner. It was a friend of the store owner. He was there helping out his buddy. He comes out, and here's two armed robbers. So they start giving him some smack. Guess what? This dude was armed. He was an armed citizen. And guess what he did? When they presented their guns to him and started giving him a hard time there, after they had just robbed and terrorized the people inside of the store, he produced his licensed concealed carry firearm, and he discharged it. And go team, both piece of human debris A and piece of human debris B are no longer with us. That's right. They're room temperature and they're worm food. Go team. And what's really sick and twisted about this story is I watched the news story, the actual broadcast news story. Well, not broadcast, but I watched it on my computer like everyone else on the planet. And the neighbors, the people in the neighborhood are like, it's about time. Because this store's been robbed 5 or 6 times. There's armed felons walking around terrorizing the citizenry, and they're glad. Well, some of the deceased's friends and family came out, and they were very outraged that someone would take the law into their own hands. Hey, how about what gives you, your scumbag relatives and friends, the right to terrorize grocery store owners and customers? What gives them the right to point guns at me? That would be nothing. And let me see. I'm not going to I'm looking down through the story here. I got my super cool show notes. It doesn't, in the story that I've got, it does not name the concerned citizen who discharged the gun. But according to the original story, it said that the licensed concealed carry holder discharged, get this, 2 rounds. Now, they may have changed the story, but the original story that I got said he discharged 2 rounds and that one into each chest of each suspect, and they both expired. So, dude, go team. And we thought you guys would appreciate that. And we appreciate you guys out there sharing that with us. How often does that happen? Police will shoot like 17 rounds at fleeing bad guys, hit them once in the foot and once in the arm, and they'll continue to go. And here we've got Johnny Citizen discharges just a couple of rounds, all hits, bad guys done, go team. So we thought you would appreciate hearing that. Now, folks, we genuinely and truly appreciate you being with us each and every week here for Student of the Gun Radio. We're here for you. You're here for us. Don't forget to support our good buddies, our friends at Excess Sights, obviously, who give us the good guy packages, our buddies down at Keltec Weapons, keltecweapons.com, and our concealed carry buddies up there at crossbreedholster.com. So you want to check those guys out. And don't forget about our buddies at Talking Lead and, of course, our other friends on the Firearms Radio Network. All of our other friends, you want to check them out, too, as well. And if you'd like to, you want to read the articles, you want to watch the TV show, oh, hey, if you guys haven't seen our helicopter hog hunting adventures, you want to make sure you're tuning in because my intrepid editor over there, Jared, worked his butt off, and he put together all the material. We took our helicopter hog hunting adventure, and we broke it into actually 2 separate segments. We did one in episode 12 and one in episode 13. And if you guys are out there, you've probably already seen the first one, and I'm going to tell you that the second one is coming up very soon. And if you can't see them because you don't have Dish, that's cool. Just take a couple of deep breaths in and out, and it'll be up online for you to view very, very soon. Now, don't forget, you are a beginner once, but you should be a student for life.